Someone just dismissed your idea in a meeting, or a stranger was rude to you for no reason. In that moment, you feel a flash of heat, a tightening in your chest. The instinct is to fire back, to prove yourself, to win. But what if the most powerful move was not to react at all? This is where ancient Stoic wisdom becomes your modern superpower. We are going to explore 25 specific Stoic responses that can transform these exact moments of friction into opportunities to command instant respect. By the end of this, you will possess a clear blueprint for projecting unshakable calm and quiet authority. How do you remain unshaken when someone tries to provoke you? What single mental shift turns a personal attack into a chance for growth? The secret lies not in what you do, but in how you choose to respond. What does true respect look like to you? That flash of heat, that tightening in your chest, is the exact moment your power is tested. The first and most fundamental Stoic response is to do what feels most unnatural. You simply pause, do not speak, do not react. You take a deliberate, conscious breath. This is not a sign of weakness or hesitation. It is the ultimate display of internal control. By creating that small space between the provocation and your response, you are demonstrating to everyone, including yourself, that you are not a puppet whose strings can be pulled by external events. Your emotions are not in the driver's seat. You are. Think about the last time you saw someone instantly snap back with a sharp retort. It often comes across as defensive, emotional, and ultimately less credible. Now picture someone who receives a criticism or a rude comment, and instead of firing back, simply absorbs it in a moment of quiet composure. That silence is deafening. It commands the room. When you finally do speak after that intentional pause, your words land with immense gravity. They are chosen, not charged. They are thoughtful, not reactive. This shows the world that you process information, that you are thoughtful, and that you cannot be easily rattled. That is the foundation of instant respect. That thoughtful silence you create gives you the clarity to do something even more powerful. You can acknowledge the truth in what someone says, even when it is delivered poorly. This is the second Stoic response. When you receive valid criticism, your ego's first command is to defend, to justify, to explain why you are not at fault. The Stoic disobeys that command. They see the feedback not as an attack on their character, but as valuable data about their actions. By saying, "You know, that is a fair point," or "I see what you mean, I could have handled that better," you are performing an act of immense strength. You are separating your self-worth from the mistake. This demonstrates a profound level of maturity. It shows everyone watching that you're more committed to improving than you are to protecting your image. Think of a leader who never admits a flaw versus one who openly says, "I got that wrong, and here is how I will fix it." Which one would you trust more? Which one would you follow with genuine respect? Accepting truthful feedback with grace is a superpower in a world full of fragile egos. It transforms a moment of potential conflict into a moment of connection and growth. You are not agreeing with every insult. You are simply mining the situation for any useful nugget of truth. That humility is not weakness. It is the mark of someone who is truly confident and in control of their own development. That humility in accepting feedback builds a reputation for integrity, and integrity is the very thing that protects you from the next trap. There is a quiet poison that circulates in offices, family gatherings, and social circles, one that often feels harmless in the moment. It is the temptation of gossip. The third Stoic response that earns instant respect is a simple, deliberate refusal to engage in it. This is not about being self-righteous or holier than thou. It is an application of the Stoic virtue of justice, of seeing people as they are, flawed and human, and refusing to define them by their worst moments when they are not present to defend themselves. When someone tries to pull you into a conversation that tears another person down, your power move is not to participate. You might simply say, "I do not feel comfortable discussing someone who is not here," or gently steer the conversation back to the facts at hand. What does this accomplish in that very moment? It immediately marks you as a person of substance. You become a safe harbor in a sea of drama. People learn very quickly that they can trust you with their own reputations because you do not traffic in the reputations of others. They know that what they say to you will not become ammunition elsewhere. This builds a deep, silent form of respect that is far more valuable than the fleeting thrill of being in on the latest scandal. Gossip is a distraction from what truly matters. It fixates on things outside of your control, the actions and opinions of other people. By choosing to focus your energy on your own work, your own character, and solutions to real problems, you demonstrate a maturity that stands out. You become the person people look to when they need a clear perspective, not more noise. In that quiet refusal, you are not just avoiding a conversation, you are making a statement about who you are and what you stand for. Your reputation as someone who does not gossip creates a solid foundation of trust, but trust is truly tested when things go wrong. The fourth Stoic response is to publicly and honestly admit your mistakes without any excuses. This is the principle of radical ownership. When you mess up, your ego will immediately present you with a list of justifications. It will whisper that the circumstances were against you, that other people were also at fault, or that your intentions were good. The Stoic silences that voice. They understand that your character is not defined by the mistake itself, but by how you choose to handle it in the aftermath. Imagine you are leading a project that misses a crucial deadline. The easy, common response is to point fingers at a delayed report from another department or unexpected technical issues. The Stoic response is entirely different. You stand up and say, "I take full responsibility for this. I misjudged the timeline and did not build in enough buffer. Here is my plan to get us back on track." Notice what is absent. There are no caveats, no hidden blame, and no deflections. This single act does something remarkable to your credibility. People are so accustomed to hearing excuses that a straightforward admission of fault is disarming. It signals immense inner strength. You are showing everyone that your self-worth is not so fragile that it cannot withstand the acknowledgement of an error. You are proving that you are more committed to the truth and to the team than you are to your own perfect image. This builds a level of trust that polished perfection never could. People respect the person who is accountable because accountability is the bedrock of reliability. When you own your actions so completely, you tell the world you are a safe pair of hands, even when you falter, because they know you will always work to make it right. There is a force more disarming than any counterattack, a response so powerful it can stop anger in its tracks. When someone directs their rage at you, your first instinct is to mirror their energy, to raise your own voice and fight fire with fire. The fifth Stoic response is to do the exact opposite. You meet their storm with your unbreakable calm. This is not about being passive or surrendering. It is a conscious, deliberate strategy to de-escalate the entire situation. Picture a pot of boiling water. You do not stop the boil by adding more heat. You lower the temperature. Your tranquil demeanor becomes that lower temperature. By refusing to shout back, by maintaining a steady tone and relaxed posture, you are not feeding the fire of their emotion. You are denying it the oxygen it needs to burn. The person yelling is often trapped in their own emotional chaos, and your calm presence holds up a mirror to their lack of control. It positions you instantly as the emotionally intelligent and stable person in the room. They are the crashing waves, you are the unshaken rock. This shift in dynamic is palpable. Who do you think everyone else will look to for a rational solution? The person screaming or the person speaking with quiet authority? Your calm is not a personal victory over them, but a victory for the situation itself. It creates the space for a real conversation to eventually happen, one where problems can actually be solved instead of just emotions being aired. This response earns a profound, almost astonished respect because it demonstrates a level of self-mastery that most people only aspire to. You become the anchor in the chaos, and that is a role that commands instant and lasting esteem. Your unshakable calm in the face of chaos reveals a deeper principle at work, one that truly separates those who are respected from those who are merely heard. Life constantly presents us with events we did not ask for, from a sudden downpour on the day of a picnic to a major project cancellation at work. The sixth Stoic response is to consciously, and often verbally, redirect your focus from what you cannot control to what you absolutely can. This means actively stopping yourself from joining the chorus of complaints about the weather, the traffic, or the unfair decision from upper management. Instead, you become the person who asks a different kind of question. You say, okay, the plan has changed. What can we do with the situation as it is now? This immediate pivot from problem to solution is a magnetic force. It shows everyone around you that you are not a passive victim of circumstance. You are an active agent with the power to choose your next move. Complaining is an admission of powerlessness. It says, this thing has happened to me and I can do nothing but be upset about it. But when you shift your focus to your own agency, you demonstrate that your power was never in controlling the world, but in controlling your response to it. People are naturally drawn to problem solvers. In any context, from the family dinner table to the boardroom, the person who cuts through the noise of what is wrong and starts proposing what can be done next is the person who earns instant respect. They become the go-to person, the one who brings clarity to confusion and direction to despair. This is not about blind optimism. It is about a clear-eyed recognition of reality, followed by the decisive choice to work with the materials you have been given. That focus is the engine of progress, and the driver of that engine is always respected. This forward-thinking mindset has a secret source, a practice that can completely reframe how you experience hardship. The seventh Stoic response is to express genuine gratitude for your challenges. This might sound counterintuitive, even strange. Why would anyone be thankful for a setback, a difficult person, or a failure? The Stoic sees these not as punishments, but as the essential training ground for strength, patience, and wisdom. It is like a blacksmith viewing a piece of raw, hard metal. He does not complain that it is difficult to shape. He knows that the very resistance of the metal is what will allow him to forge a stronger blade. When you start to view your own challenges through this lens, something shifts internally. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me, you begin to ask, what is this trying to teach me? This is not about pretending to enjoy pain. It is about recognizing the hidden value embedded within it. Imagine two colleagues facing the same demoralizing project cancellation. One spends the week lamenting the wasted effort, their energy draining from the room. The other, while disappointed, reflects and then says to the team, I am actually grateful for this. It forced us to confront some weaknesses in our initial approach we would have otherwise ignored. Now we have a chance to build something even better. Which attitude commands more respect? The person who is ground down by circumstance, or the person who uses circumstance as a grinding stone to sharpen their own abilities? This kind of gratitude is not a passive acceptance. It is an active, powerful declaration that you cannot be defeated because you are always learning. People are drawn to this resilient, positive energy. It signals a depth of character that sees beyond the immediate obstacle to the longer path of growth. Your gratitude in the face of difficulty does not just change your own day, it inspires everyone who witnesses it. There is a powerful urge to deliver the final, crushing remark, to have your voice be the one that echoes in the silence after a debate. But true strength often lies in letting that opportunity pass. The eighth Stoic response is to consciously let go of the need to have the last word. This is not about conceding a point you believe in. It is about recognizing when a discussion has ceased to be productive and has devolved into a battle of egos. In that moment, you make a quiet calculation. You weigh the hollow victory of a verbal win against the solid value of your own inner peace. Choosing your peace is a declaration of supreme confidence. It shows that your sense of self is not dependent on the external validation of winning an argument. You are so secure in your own position that you do not need everyone else to acknowledge it, especially when they are no longer listening. Think about the last time you were in a circular, frustrating argument. The energy drains from the room, voices get tighter, and nothing of value is being exchanged. The person who suddenly stops, who simply says, "I understand your perspective," and then allows the conversation to end, instantly seizes the higher ground. They are not defeated, they have simply decided that the cost of continuing is too high, and they are choosing to invest their energy elsewhere. This act is disarming. It leaves the other person with nothing to push against. Their argument, their anger, meets only the quiet resolve of your silence. People respect this because it is so rare. It signals that you are governed by a deeper purpose than the petty need to be right. You demonstrate that you are the one in control of the conversation, even when you are the one who chooses to end it. Your willingness to walk away from a fruitless debate does not diminish your authority. It solidifies it, proving that your confidence comes from within and cannot be shaken by something as trivial as the last word. There is a hidden economy of human relationships, one that operates not on the currency of debt and payback, but on the principle of pure contribution. The ninth Stoic response is to offer help without any expectation of return. This goes far beyond simple politeness. It is a practical application of the Stoic belief in our duty to the human community. The ancient Stoics saw themselves as part of a larger whole, and just as your hand naturally helps your foot, you are wired to assist your fellow human. When you lift someone up without a silent mental contract that they now owe you a favor, you are demonstrating a character free from manipulation. Think about the last time someone helped you and you could feel the invisible strings attached. It creates a subtle tension, a feeling of obligation that cheapens the gesture. Now contrast that with someone who offers their time, their expertise, or simply a listening ear, and then walks away as if it was the most natural thing in the world. That act of pure giving is disarming. It signals that your value system is rooted in something deeper than transactional gain. You become known as the person who is genuinely kind, the one who is reliable not because you want something, but because it is simply who you are. This builds a form of respect that is both profound and enduring. People do not just appreciate what you did for them, they come to respect the person you must be to act that way. In a world often focused on what can be gained, the person who gives freely stands out as a pillar of quiet strength and unwavering integrity. Your reputation becomes one of authentic generosity, a magnet that draws trust and loyalty not through calculation, but through the simple, powerful consistency of your character. A crisis does not build character, it reveals it. When pressure mounts and panic begins to spread, the 10th Stoic response is to become an island of composure. This is not an act, it is the result of a deep, practiced discipline over both mind and body. Your heart might be racing, your mind might be screaming with worst-case scenarios, but externally, you are the picture of steady focus. Your breath remains even, your voice stays at a normal volume, and your posture remains open, not clenched. This physical control is a direct reflection of your mental control. You are consciously choosing not to be swept away by the collective fear. History offers a powerful example in the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. He did not rule during a time of peace and prosperity. He spent years on the harsh frontiers of the empire, leading legions against invading tribes, all while a deadly plague ravaged the population at home. The weight of those crises could have crushed any person, yet from that pressure he produced his Meditations, a private journal of profound calm and rational thought. He was not suppressing his fear, he was processing it through reason, reminding himself that his power lay not in controlling the chaos around him, but in his judgment of it. Imagine being a soldier under his command, seeing your leader, the most powerful man in the world, maintaining his thoughtful demeanor in a storm of war and disease. What would that do for your own courage? It would be infectious. That composure inspires absolute confidence. It tells everyone watching without a single word that the situation is serious, but it is being handled. People are drawn to that stability like a magnet. In your own life, whether during a family emergency or a critical project failure at work, your calm becomes the team's anchor. It gives others permission to stop panicking and start thinking. They look to you not because you have all the answers, but because you demonstrate the clarity needed to find them. That is how a steady demeanor in a storm earns you not just respect, but unwavering trust. That unshakable composure under pressure must find its voice, and how you choose to speak becomes your next powerful declaration. The 11th Stoic response is to communicate with absolute clarity and conciseness. This is Stoic mindfulness in action, a deliberate filtering of every word before it leaves your mouth. The goal is not to sound impressive, but to be understood. It is about stripping away the filler words, the emotional exaggerations, and the long, winding justifications that dilute your core message. When you speak clearly and get directly to the point, you are performing a profound act of respect. You are valuing the other person's time and attention, treating them as a rational equal who deserves a straightforward thought. Think of the last time you listened to someone who rambled endlessly, their point buried under a mountain of unnecessary detail. It feels frustrating, even disrespectful, as if your time does not matter. Now picture someone who can distill a complex idea into 2 or 3 potent sentences. Their words carry weight because there is no waste. This precision requires internal discipline. It means you have already processed your own emotions and thoughts before speaking. You are not thinking out loud, using the listener as a sounding board for your own confusion. You have done that work internally, and you present a clear, considered conclusion. This makes your communication incredibly impactful. In a negotiation, a clear statement of your position is stronger than a bluster of threats. In a conflict, a concise expression of your boundary is more powerful than an emotional outburst. People listen differently when you speak this way. They lean in, knowing your words are chosen with care and that you mean exactly what you say. This builds a reputation for reliability and intellectual honesty, commanding a respect that is both instant and deeply earned. Your words carry weight when you speak with clarity, and that same thoughtful precision is your greatest asset when the words are directed at you. A compliment can be just as disarming as a criticism. The 12th Stoic response is to accept praise with genuine humility. This is a delicate art, one that lies perfectly between the trap of arrogant agreement and the awkwardness of false modesty. When someone offers you a genuine compliment on your work or your character, your ego might surge, wanting to bask in the glory. Alternatively, a different part of you might feel the need to immediately deflect, to list all the reasons you do not deserve it. The Stoic finds a third path. They simply acknowledge the praise with a sincere thank you, and then, if it feels appropriate, they might gently redirect a portion of the credit. This demonstrates a grounded self-assurance that does not require constant external validation to feel worthy. For example, if a colleague says, "You gave an incredible presentation," the Stoic response is not, "Oh, it was nothing, I was totally winging it." That devalues the other person's judgment. It is also not, "I know, I am pretty great at this." Instead, you might say, "Thank you, that means a lot. I am really glad the data resonated. The team worked hard to pull it together." Do you see the difference? You are not rejecting the praise. You are accepting it gracefully while also acknowledging that your success is often part of a larger ecosystem of effort and support. This reveals a person who is secure enough to accept a compliment without letting it define them. It shows that you understand your own contributions without being consumed by them. People respect this balanced response immensely. It signals a maturity that is neither hungry for praise nor afraid of it. You stand confidently in your own accomplishments without needing to broadcast them, and that quiet confidence speaks louder than any boast. Your achievements are not a secret to be hidden, but a foundation to be built upon, not a trophy to be displayed. The 13th Stoic response is to let your actions speak for themselves and to resist the urge to constantly narrate your own successes. This is the virtue of modesty in practice. It is the understanding that true worth does not need a loudspeaker. When you accomplish something significant, the desire to share it, to have your effort recognized and admired, is a natural human impulse. The Stoic, however, pauses and asks a simple question: what is my true goal here? Is it to contribute value, or is it to collect validation? Bragging, at its core, is a plea for external approval. It signals that your sense of self is tied to the applause of others. But when you quietly do excellent work and allow that work to be discovered or for others to speak of it, you project a completely different kind of confidence. You are showing that your validation comes from within, from the private knowledge that you have met your own high standards. Think of two colleagues. One consistently delivers exceptional results but never feels the need to announce them in meetings. The other is always first to share every minor victory, ensuring the room knows of their contribution. Over time, who do you think the team comes to trust more? The quiet performer becomes a source of reliable substance, while the boaster begins to sound like noise. This is not about hiding your light under a bushel. It is about understanding that a light that is constantly waved in people's faces becomes an annoyance, while a steady, consistent glow naturally illuminates the room and draws people in. Your quiet authority grows because people learn that your word is backed by silent, undeniable action. They respect you not for what you say you have done, but for what they have seen you consistently do. That quiet confidence, demonstrated through silent action, creates a space where others feel truly seen. There is a profound difference between simply waiting for your turn to talk and the rare act of listening with your entire being. The 14th Stoic response is to offer someone your complete, undivided attention. This means putting away the phone, making eye contact, and consciously silencing the internal monologue that is already drafting your reply while they are still speaking. In that moment, you are giving them a priceless gift, the gift of your presence. It is a practical application of the Stoic principle of focusing only on what is in front of you, the person and their words, rather than being distracted by your own agenda. When you listen this way, you are not just hearing words, you are hearing the emotion behind them, the unspoken concerns, the hidden assumptions. You are gathering data with empathy. This is incredibly disarming. The person speaking feels it immediately. They feel valued, understood, and respected on a fundamental human level. Think of the last time you were speaking to someone whose eyes were darting around the room or who cut you off to make their own point. It feels dismissive, as if your thoughts are less important. Now, recall a conversation with someone who listened so fully that they made you feel like the only person in the world. That level of attention is magnetic. It forges an instant bond of trust and respect. Furthermore, this deep listening is not a passive act. It is the most active form of communication. By truly understanding the other person's position, you equip yourself to respond not with a rehearsed argument, but with a thoughtful, relevant answer that addresses their actual concerns, not just the ones you assumed they had. This transforms potential conflicts into collaborations and superficial chats into meaningful connections. In a distracted world, the person who possesses the discipline to listen fully commands a quiet, undeniable authority. There is a certain noise we have all learned to tune out, the constant hum of public discontent. It spills into break rooms and social media feeds, a litany of minor grievances about the workload, the weather, the general unfairness of life. The 15th Stoic response is to consciously step out of that chorus. This is not about pretending life is perfect or suppressing your feelings. It is about understanding the purpose and the power of your words. Stoicism teaches us to endure light hardships in silence and to discuss heavier burdens only with a clear purpose, such as seeking a solution or trusted counsel. When you refrain from adding your own complaints to the public airwaves, you accomplish something remarkable. You mark yourself as a person of substance and resilience. Think about the people in your own life who are always vocal about their struggles. After a while, you begin to anticipate their negativity. Now, think of the person who faces the same challenges, yet you rarely hear a word of complaint from them. When they do speak about a difficulty, you listen intently because you know their words carry weight. Their silence on trivial matters makes their speech on serious ones profoundly impactful. This restraint demonstrates an internal fortitude. It shows that you process your own frustrations internally, that you do not need the constant validation of others agreeing that your life is hard. You become the calm port in the storm of everyday drama, the one others know they can rely on not to add to the chaos. Your quiet endurance makes you a pillar of strength, and people are instinctively drawn to that stability, granting you a respect born from your undeniable self-sufficiency. Time is the one resource you can never earn back. The 16th Stoic response treats it with the reverence it deserves by being unfailingly punctual and prepared. This is far more than a social courtesy. It is a direct reflection of your inner discipline and your respect for the lives of others. When you arrive on time for a meeting, fully ready to contribute, you are sending a clear, non-verbal message. You are saying, "I value you and your time too much to waste a minute of it." Your preparation shows you have considered the matter seriously, that you see this interaction as meaningful. Contrast this with someone who consistently arrives 5 minutes late, flustered and unprepared. Their actions, however unintentionally, communicate that their own time is more valuable than everyone else's in the room. That their last task was more important than the commitment they made to you. The Stoic sees time as the very fabric of life itself. To steal someone's time is to steal a small, irreplaceable piece of their existence. By being punctual, you are practicing justice. You are giving others what they are rightly owed, their own autonomy over their day. This simple, consistent habit builds a foundation of reliability that people come to depend on. They know that when a meeting is scheduled for 9, it will start at 9 because you are there, ready. That when a task is delegated to you, it will be handled with forethought. In a world of constant delays and last-minute excuses, the person who respects time stands out as a pillar of integrity. This earns a deep, practical respect that is felt every single time you walk into a room, exactly when you said you would. Your decisions reveal the architecture of your character. The 17th Stoic response is to anchor your choices not in the shifting winds of emotion, but in the bedrock of your core principles. When you are asked why you made a particular decision, the most common explanation points to a feeling. I did not like the direction it was going, or it just felt like the right thing to do. While this is human, it is also fragile. It ties your judgment to a state of mind that can change by the hour. The Stoic alternative is to reference a stable internal code. You explain your decision by saying, "I made this choice because it aligns with my value of fairness," or "My principle is to prioritize long-term stability over short-term gain, and this path supports that." This single shift in your explanation transforms how others perceive you. It demonstrates that you are governed by reason, not by impulse. Your actions become predictable in the best possible way, not because you are boring, but because you are consistent. People learn that they can trust your judgment because it is not subject to your mood. They know that if the same set of facts were presented to you on a bad day or a good day, you would likely arrive at the same well-reasoned conclusion. This builds a profound, long-term respect. It marks you as a person of integrity, someone whose internal compass is calibrated to true north, not to the temporary storms of emotion. That consistency is the foundation of true leadership and unwavering trust. Holding onto a grudge is like carrying a heavy, invisible weight everywhere you go. The 18th Stoic response is to set that burden down by forgiving others quickly and sincerely. This is not about excusing harmful behavior or pretending you were not hurt. It is a profound shift in perspective rooted in a core Stoic belief. The Stoics held that no one does wrong willingly. They believed that people act badly because of a kind of ignorance, a mistaken judgment about what is truly good for them. When someone insults you or treats you unfairly, their actions are not a rational calculation of your worth. They are a reflection of their own internal confusion, their own flawed reasoning about what will bring them happiness or security. Seeing this does not make the sting vanish, but it changes its meaning. The offense is no longer a personal verdict on you, but a symptom of the other person's error. To forgive, then, is not an act of weakness. It is an act of emotional strength and intellectual clarity. It is you declaring that you will not be poisoned by another person's ignorance. You are choosing your own inner peace over the prolonged drama of resentment. Think of the energy required to stay angry, to replay the event in your mind, to plan what you will say next time you see them. That is your life force being drained by a past event you cannot change. Forgiveness is the moment you reclaim that energy for your own present and future. It is a gift you give yourself, releasing the debtor from a debt they were never going to pay. When you can sincerely say, "I release you from this," you demonstrate a maturity that transcends the petty cycle of retaliation. You show the world that your inner state is your own sovereign territory, and you refuse to let anyone else govern it with their past actions. This capacity for swift, clean forgiveness marks you as someone who is truly, unshakably free. Your word is your bond, and every promise kept is a brick in the foundation of your character. The 19th Stoic response is to honor your commitments with absolute consistency, especially when they seem insignificant. That casual promise to send an article to a colleague, your agreement to take the morning shift for a coworker, your assurance to your child that you will be home in time for dinner, these are the moments where your integrity is truly forged. The Stoics believed that virtue is a unified whole, that you cannot be a little bit dishonest in small things and completely trustworthy in large ones. Your character is a single, seamless entity. When you follow through on the minor commitment, you are not just completing a task, you are training your mind to see your word as an unbreakable law you have set for yourself. This builds a rock-solid reputation over time. People learn that if you said you would do it, it is as good as done. They stop wondering, they stop checking in, they simply trust. In a world where flakiness has become almost expected, this level of reliability is a superpower. It makes you the person others know they can build upon, the one they can depend on when it truly matters. Your consistent action proves that your internal principles are stronger than your external moods or convenience. That is how a series of small, kept promises constructs a legacy of trust that commands instant and unwavering respect. There is a quiet addiction that runs our lives more than we care to admit, the constant craving for a like, a compliment, a nod of approval. The 20th Stoic response is to break that dependency by finding your satisfaction within. This is the core of what the Stoics called the dichotomy of control. They divided the world into two simple categories, what is up to us and what is not. Our own judgments, our values, and our efforts are up to us. The opinions, praise, and recognition from others are not. When you tie your sense of worth to something outside your control, you hand over the keys to your inner peace. You become a marionette, and the world holds the strings, jerking you from joy to despair with a single comment or a missed promotion. The person who is free from this need operates differently. They do their work with excellence because it aligns with their own standards, not because they are hoping for a standing ovation. They hold a door open because it is the right thing to do, not to hear a thank you. This internal orientation creates a powerful and magnetic self-sufficiency. Have you ever been around someone who is completely comfortable in their own skin, who does not seem to need your approval or anyone else's. Their presence is calming, their confidence is authentic. You find yourself respecting them almost instinctively because they are not looking for it. They are not performing for your validation. They are simply being, and in that simple being, they project an unshakable solidity. This does not mean you become cold or dismissive of others. It means you receive praise and criticism with the same even-tempered grace, seeing both as external impressions that do not define you. Your motivation becomes intrinsic, fueled by your own principles. When you are no longer fishing for compliments, people stop seeing you as someone who needs to be caught and start seeing you for the deep, calm water that you are. That self-contained wholeness is a rare and powerful form of quiet authority. That self-contained wholeness frees you from a different kind of prison, the need to always be right. The 21st Stoic response is to openly admit when you do not know something, or to correct yourself when you discover you were wrong. This is the practice of intellectual humility, and it is a sign of tremendous strength, not weakness. Your ego will scream that admitting ignorance makes you look incompetent or vulnerable. It will tell you to bluff, to deflect, or to talk in circles until the moment passes. The Stoic silences that fear. They understand that pretending to know everything is a fragile facade, one that cracks under the slightest pressure. Saying, "I do not know, but I will find out," does the opposite. It demonstrates a quiet confidence in your own ability to learn. It shows that your commitment is to the truth itself, not to the temporary illusion of being all-knowing. Think of a leader in a critical meeting who is asked a complex question. One person might launch into a speculative answer, filling the air with uncertainty disguised as expertise. Another simply says, "That is an excellent question. I do not have that data at hand, but I will get it for you by the end of the day." Which one inspires more confidence? Which one would you trust to give you a straight answer when it truly matters? The person who admits their limits is the person you know will operate with integrity. They are not protecting their ego, they are pursuing a solution. This extends to correcting yourself. When you realize you have given someone incorrect information, the powerful move is to go back to them and say, "I need to correct what I said earlier. I was wrong about that, and here is the accurate information." This act is so disarming because it is so rare. It instantly builds a bridge of trust, proving that your loyalty is to accuracy, not to your own infallibility. In a world saturated with opinion and bluster, the person who values truth over their own ego commands a profound and instant respect. Status and title are costumes we wear in the theater of life. The 22nd Stoic response is to treat the CEO and the janitor with the exact same sincere courtesy. This is not about political correctness. It is a profound recognition of a core Stoic principle, the universal brotherhood of mankind. The ancient Stoics believed that every human being possesses a spark of the same divine reason. Therefore, a person's inherent worth is not determined by their job, their wealth, or their social standing. It is a fixed and equal constant. When you are consistently polite and respectful to the person serving your coffee, the security guard at your building, and the intern fetching coffee, you are demonstrating that you see this fundamental humanity. You are not performing for an audience who can advance your career. You are acting from a deep, internal nobility. Your character is revealed in these unguarded moments when there is nothing obvious to gain. Think of a leader who is charming and deferential to their superiors, but short and dismissive with support staff. What does that truly reveal? It shows that their respect is a transaction, a currency they spend only on those they deem useful. Their character is weak, shifting with the winds of perceived advantage. Now picture someone who speaks to everyone with the same steady tone, who makes eye contact, who listens. This consistency marks you as a person of immense inner strength. You are governed by an unshakable principle, not by the social hierarchy of the moment. People notice this, especially those who are often overlooked. The respect you earn from them is deep and genuine, and it quietly ripples through every room you enter. It proves that your dignity is not something you put on and take off. It is who you are, regardless of who you are with. A crisis reveals the difference between a manager and a leader. When a project fails or a deal collapses, the room often fills with the noise of blame and lament. The 23rd Stoic response is to cut through that noise by immediately focusing on solutions, not problems. This is a masterclass in emotional discipline. It means you consciously bypass the emotional reaction, the urge to figure out whose fault it was, and you channel all your energy into a single question. What do we do now? Your first words set the tone. Instead of, how did this happen, you ask, what are our available options? This pivot is not about ignoring the cause of the problem. It is about prioritizing your response. A problem is static, a weight that pins you to the past. A solution is dynamic, a force that propels you into the future. By becoming the person who initiates that forward motion, you become the team's compass, always pointing toward true north. Imagine a ship hitting a reef. One person runs to the bow to scream at the reef. Another immediately starts organizing the crew to patch the hull and man the pumps, who becomes the de facto leader in that moment. The screamer or the problem solver. Your dispassionate analysis of the setback demonstrates that you are not ruled by the event. You are processing it as a set of new, albeit difficult, circumstances to work with. This marks you as indispensable. People are instinctively drawn to those who provide clarity and direction in the fog of uncertainty. Your value skyrockets because you are not adding to the panic, you are providing the map out of it. This solution-oriented mindset earns you the kind of respect that is reserved for those who do not just hold a title, but who truly lead. A consistent character is the final defense against a world of shifting masks. This is the 24th Stoic response, the commitment to being the same person in private that you present to the public. It is the ultimate expression of integrity, where your actions are not curated for an audience but flow from a single, unwavering source. The Stoics called this living in accordance with nature, meaning your rational self. When there is no gap between who you are when you are being watched and who you are when you are entirely alone, you achieve a state of wholeness. This builds a trust so deep it becomes unshakable because people know with absolute certainty what to expect from you. They do not have to wonder which version of you will show up today, the stressed one, the charming one, or the impatient one. There is only one version, grounded in principle. Think of a leader who preaches transparency and teamwork to their staff, but behind closed doors makes selfish decisions and speaks poorly of the very people they lead. The truth always seeps out, eroding trust one cracked promise at a time. Now, consider someone whose private conversations align with their public statements, whose decisions in a dark room would be the same as those made under a spotlight. This consistency is a magnet for respect. It tells everyone that you are not performing. You are simply being, and that authentic being is reliable, honorable, and strong. Your character is not a suit you wear for special occasions. It is your skin. People are drawn to this realness because it is a rare and solid foundation in a world of facades. When you are the same person in every room, you offer a gift of predictability in an unpredictable world, and that is the bedrock of lasting respect. The ultimate act of self-respect is knowing which battles are not worth fighting. This final Stoic response is not about quitting in the face of difficulty, but about the profound wisdom of strategic withdrawal. It is the courage to walk away from a situation or a relationship that is fundamentally toxic and beyond your control. The Stoic understands that some things cannot be fixed and that your energy is a finite resource. Pouring it into a bottomless pit of drama, manipulation, or disrespect is not virtuous persistence. It is a waste of your one precious life. When you recognize that you have done all you can, that the other party is unwilling to change, and that your peace is being systematically destroyed, staying is no longer strength. It is a form of self-betrayal. The decision to leave then becomes the highest form of self-command. It is you declaring that your well-being is non-negotiable. This action speaks louder than any argument. It demonstrates a level of self-respect so clear and so firm that others cannot help but see it. They may protest, they may try to pull you back in, but in their quietest moments they will respect your decision. You are showing them the standard by which you expect to be treated by mirroring it in your own actions. Walking away from a toxic job, a draining friendship, or a corrosive partnership is not an admission of defeat. It is a declaration of victory over the forces that sought to diminish you. It proves that your anchor is held within, and that you are willing to cut a sinking ship loose to save your own soul. That is the final, unanswerable move that commands a respect born of awe for the person who knows their own worth. These 25 responses are not a checklist, but a single, interlocking system. From the initial pause to the final act of walking away, each one reinforces the others, carving out a character of unshakable integrity and quiet power. This is not about memorizing lines. It is about internalizing a mindset, a way of being that transforms your very presence in the world. You become the calm in the chaos, the voice of reason in the noise, and the anchor in the storm. This is the essence of Stoicism in action, a philosophy that builds unbreakable inner fortitude. Do not feel you need to master all of this at once. The path to this kind of respect is built one choice at a time. Start with just one response this week. Perhaps you focus on that intentional pause before you speak, or on refusing to engage in a single piece of gossip. Each small victory builds your confidence and deepens your practice. This is your journey toward a life of greater peace, purpose, and profound influence. If this wisdom resonates with you and you wish to continue building this unshakable core, consider subscribing to the channel. We are dedicated to bringing you more practical guidance on living a Stoic life, turning ancient wisdom into your modern superpower.